Listen to me. It is no coincidence that you are here. What made you open this video was that deep call, unrecognizable from the outside but echoing inside. Maybe you don't realize it, but this loneliness, this silence, this state of disassociation is not a lack. On the contrary, it is a preparation. Carl Jung said, "Everything that happens to you is meant to transform you into something greater than you." And sometimes the universe leaves you alone because it wants you to meet yourself, not someone else. Maybe lately you've been feeling disconnected, excluded, misunderstood. While everyone else is having affairs, you are still waiting. But what if this waiting is not a punishment? What if being alone protects you from ordinary love and prepares you for your true mission? Most people think loneliness is a deficiency, but sometimes those who are alone are the ones who experience the deepest transformation. First, the universe whispers, then it forces. It makes you restless, brings the wrong people in front of you, pushes you into loneliness, because there is no one ready to meet someone like you yet. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 powerful signs that show you why the universe keeps you alone. And if even just 3 of these 7 signs resonate with you, it's not a coincidence that you're alone. It's part of a divine plan. Because sometimes, before you find someone, you need to find yourself. Sign 1. You're being pulled away from surface-level relationships. Sometimes the universe takes you away, not from a person, but from a type of relationship. It's not toxic, maybe, but it's shallow. It has no depth. It's superficial, and your soul can no longer breathe on that surface. The things that used to excite you are now mundane. Ex-lovers or relationships that made you happy in the past now feel like an echo, as if they weren't real. This feeling is the first sign of the beginning of the inner transformation Jung called the individuation process. The universe is trying to detach you from the search for external approval and bring you together with an inner essence. You can no longer be with someone just to spend time. You can no longer let someone into your life just to not feel lonely. Because now the unconscious inside is nudging you. This is not the real connection. But the loneliness that comes with this realization hurts at first. While your friends are getting into relationships, you are still waiting. You may feel excluded, incomplete, backward. But these feelings are the price of a spiritual awakening. Breaking away from surface ties makes room for deeper ties, and the universe leaves you alone to reach that depth. This is not a punishment, it is a preparation. Carl Jung says that every relationship one has with the opposite sex actually reflects one's relationship with the anima or animus within oneself. If you still haven't recognized the opposite sex inside you, that is, if you haven't realized your inner female or inner male energy, you won't find real satisfaction, no matter how much you look for someone outside. That's why the universe takes the surface relationships away from you, because the deeper one is still within you, and you have already begun to explore that depth. 2. You experience a deep inner restlessness. You wake up one morning and nothing is the same. Neither your home has changed, nor your job, nor the people around you. But something is missing. Even though everything seems to be in its place, you don't feel like you belong to anything anymore. You feel alone in crowds, silent in conversations, drowned in relationships. This feeling of not belonging is the echo of a call from the depths of your soul. Carl Jung called it soul call, the call of the soul. And this call often comes with loneliness, because crowds silence the soul. Noise drowns out the inner voice. So the soul starts to purge the excess from your life one by one. It removes you from people, from the social environment, sometimes even from your loved ones. Because now your soul is about to embark on a journey, and this journey requires silence, a deep introspection, waiting for you to be ready to face yourself. Things that used to make you happy now feel empty. Conversations you used to laugh at tire you out. Crowds you used to find entertaining bore you. Social media, movies, gatherings with friends. Everything suddenly feels fake. Because you can no longer be satisfied with the fake. Your heart begins to yearn for a deeper meaning. And that meaning is not outside, but inside. But getting inside is not easy. The noise has to stop. Sometimes you want someone in your life, just to fill this void. But whenever someone comes, a voice inside says, "Not this one." That voice cannot be suppressed. Because now a relationship feels like a burden. You can't be with someone just to be with someone. You don't want to play games. Because your heart wants truth, not games. And real connection is only possible through deep self-awareness. The universe knows this, so it makes you lonely. This solitude is not a punishment, but a preparation. It doesn't throw you into darkness, it draws you into silence, because in that silence you hear your own voice. In that emptiness you realize who you are. The longer you are alone, the more you realize that it is not the outside world that harms you the most, but the repressed parts inside you. And in that moment, the transformation begins. Your soul keeps nudging you. Wake up, it says. Remember who you are. Maybe everyone tells you to socialize more. Be open to love, they say. But you know deep down, it's not time yet. Because you are no longer an ordinary traveler. You are a soul called to an inner journey. And the universe leaving you alone is the first step on this sacred journey. When you approach a new relationship, something always goes wrong. Either you withdraw or the other person withdraws. A constant feeling of unfinishedness. Why isn't it working? You ask inwardly. Just when you think everything is going well, something happens. Maybe you suddenly grow cold. Maybe the other person disappears, becomes distant. Maybe communication breaks down or things get so complicated that even you can't figure it out. At this point, your mind wants to label it as bad luck or fate. But your inner self knows this is not a coincidence. This is the moment when the universe says to you out loud, "Not yet." Because the universe relates you to you before it gives you a relationship, it puts all your shortcomings, incompletions, fears and wounds in a mirror. And that mirror is usually another person. Every new beginning is like a test. How open are you to love? How much do you know yourself? How real, how authentic are you? And perhaps most importantly, are you really ready to love, or are you still trying to prove yourself loved? Most people want a relationship, but in fact they expect much more from it. To be validated, to feel valued, to be complete. But a relationship is not meant to fill these gaps. It is meant for two full souls to flow into each other. If you are still striving for completion from the inside, the universe protects you. It will not put you in an unfinished story. It will not condemn you to solace in the wrong embrace. Therefore, every story you say, "It didn't happen," may actually end for you as, "It would have been better if it hadn't happened." And that feeling of incompleteness you experience is not the incompleteness of a relationship, but the incompleteness of your own inner wholeness. Because until you are complete, you cannot be complete with anyone. As Carl Jung said, unless you face yourself, nothing you seek outside will satisfy you. So the universe leaving you alone is not an abandonment. It is a call. Go back inside, face it, heal. Stop looking for the missing parts in someone else, because you already have those pieces, and the universe reminds you of this fact by leaving you alone. When you start to love yourself, to understand yourself, that someone else will come anyway. But then it will not be a compliment for you, it will be a reflector, and then nothing is left unfinished. 4. You keep attracting the same pain in different forms. Different faces, same story, always similar heartbreaks, similar disappointments. It's like even though you meet different people, in the end, you always come back to the same bitter spot. It's not a coincidence, it's a reflection. Because the universe doesn't send you random people, it sends you back you. This is where Jung's shadow archetype comes into play. Whatever you have repressed, every fear, every wound, every longing that you cannot admit to yourself, is reflected back to you outside through the behavior of others. For example, if you haven't healed your feelings of worthlessness, you will attract people who make you feel worthless all the time. If you are repressing your fear of abandonment, you will always fall in love with people who are prone to leave, and without realizing it, you're always going around in the same cycle. Hope attachment, expectation, brokenness, emptiness. Then hope again, attachment again, and the same wound again. The noise has to stop. Sometimes you want someone in your life just to fill this void. But whenever someone comes, a voice inside says, "Not this one." That voice cannot be suppressed. Because now a relationship feels like a burden. You can't be with someone just to be with someone. You don't want to play games. Because your heart wants truth, not games. And real connection is only possible through deep self-awareness. The universe knows this, so it makes you lonely. This solitude is not a punishment, but a preparation. It doesn't throw you into darkness, it draws you into silence, because in that silence you hear your own voice. In that emptiness you realize who you are. The longer you are alone, the more you realize that it is not the outside world that harms you the most, but the repressed parts inside you. And in that moment, the transformation begins. Your soul keeps nudging you. Wake up, it says. Remember who you are. Maybe everyone tells you to socialize more. Be open to love, they say. But you know deep down, it's not time yet. Because you are no longer an ordinary traveler. You are a soul called to an inner journey. And the universe leaving you alone is the first step on this sacred journey. When you approach a new relationship, something always goes wrong. Either you withdraw or the other person withdraws. A constant feeling of unfinishedness. Why isn't it working? You ask inwardly. Just when you think everything is going well, something happens. Maybe you suddenly grow cold. Maybe the other person disappears, becomes distant. Maybe communication breaks down or things get so complicated that even you can't figure it out. At this point, your mind wants to label it as bad luck or fate. But your inner self knows this is not a coincidence. This is the moment when the universe says to you out loud, "Not yet." Because the universe relates you to you before it gives you a relationship, it puts all your shortcomings, incompletions, fears and wounds in a mirror. And that mirror is usually another person. Every new beginning is like a test. How open are you to love? How much do you know yourself? How real, how authentic are you? And perhaps most importantly, are you really ready to love, or are you still trying to prove yourself loved? Most people want a relationship, but in fact they expect much more from it. To be validated, to feel valued, to be complete. But a relationship is not meant to fill these gaps. It is meant for two full souls to flow into each other. If you are still striving for completion from the inside, the universe protects you. It will not put you in an unfinished story. It will not condemn you to solace in the wrong embrace. Therefore, every story you say, "It didn't happen," may actually end for you as, "It would have been better if it hadn't happened." And that feeling of incompleteness you experience is not the incompleteness of a relationship, but the incompleteness of your own inner wholeness. Because until you are complete, you cannot be complete with anyone. As Carl Jung said, unless you face yourself, nothing you seek outside will satisfy you. So the universe leaving you alone is not an abandonment. It is a call. Go back inside, face it, heal. Stop looking for the missing parts in someone else, because you already have those pieces, and the universe reminds you of this fact by leaving you alone. When you start to love yourself, to understand yourself, that someone else will come anyway. But then it will not be a compliment for you, it will be a reflector, and then nothing is left unfinished. 4. You keep attracting the same pain in different forms. Different faces, same story, always similar heartbreaks, similar disappointments. It's like even though you meet different people, in the end, you always come back to the same bitter spot. It's not a coincidence, it's a reflection. Because the universe doesn't send you random people, it sends you back you. This is where Jung's shadow archetype comes into play. Whatever you have repressed, every fear, every wound, every longing that you cannot admit to yourself, is reflected back to you outside through the behavior of others. For example, if you haven't healed your feelings of worthlessness, you will attract people who make you feel worthless all the time. If you are repressing your fear of abandonment, you will always fall in love with people who are prone to leave, and without realizing it, you're always going around in the same cycle. Hope, attachment, expectation, brokenness, emptiness. Then hope again, attachment again, and the same wound again. This cycle of repetition is the universe's way of teaching you something. Unless you learn the same lesson, the subject of the exam doesn't change. Because the universe doesn't punish you, it wants to transform you. Every repeated heartbreak tells you there is still a wound here that you need to take care of. And as long as you don't take care of that wound, relationships don't heal. On the contrary, they bleed even more. That's why people who drag you through the same kind of pain over and over again are actually teachers. They don't come to make you feel bad. They come to make you face the darkness inside you. And the more you avoid this confrontation, the more the universe keeps bringing you the same story with new faces. Jung said, "What is pushed into the unconscious becomes destiny, and you call it fate." In other words, you relive everything you have repressed in the outside world, thinking it is fate. But this is not fate. It is a call to look at your shadow, an invitation to return to yourself, to heal, to integrate. Because you cannot integrate with anyone without looking at your shadow, and the universe does not make you incomplete by leaving you alone. It forces you to complete. 5. You feel more like yourself when you're alone. Crowds suffocate you. You feel lost in noisy environments, in superficial conversations. You can be lonely even among people. But when you are alone, you feel strangely more you. Your inner voice is clearer, your thoughts more lucid, your heart more peaceful. This is not social anxiety or isolation. This is a return to the inner center. The universe makes you hear you by silencing you. When the outside world is silenced, the real voice inside you begins to rise, and this voice leads you to your reality. Maybe you have been feeling the lack of a relationship for a long time. But pay attention. Whenever someone comes into your life, it's as if your energy is split. Your imagination wanes, your intuition shuts down, your inner world becomes chaotic. But when you are alone, something happens. It's as if your soul returns to its own space and starts to grow there. This is one of the clearest messages of the universe. Being alone right now is not a deficiency, but a preparation for birth. Because true transformation takes place in solitude, not in a crowd. Just as butterflies transform in a cocoon, you need to retreat into your own space to complete your inner evolution. This solitude is not a vacuum, but a womb. It is preparation for the birth of a new self. And that is why the universe never makes you feel like you belong to the crowd. Because you are deepening, and your incompatibility with people on the surface is a side effect of your development. Jung says, one discovers who one is only when one embarks on an inner journey. And your being alone is not an escape, it is a discovery. The universe does not leave you alone, it pulls you towards itself. Because you cannot truly unite with anyone without first uniting with yourself. 6. Your soul feels like it's in training. You're at a time when life is testing you. Everything seems to be piling up. Difficulties, uncertainties, losses. But part of you also knows, this is not just random suffering. These experiences are preparing you for something. Every break you experience opens the door to growth. Every difficulty makes you a little deeper. And you realize that this is not preparation for a relationship, but for a much bigger mission. The universe is calling you not for love, but for transformation. It wants you to build your own strength before you commit to someone else. Because the test this time is not who you will be with, it is who you will become. Jung's words resonate here. No one can be liberated without becoming conscious. It is a painful process. So these inner battles you're going through are not just testing you, they are training you. Your soul is in training, your heart is gaining stamina, your mind is deepening, and you are becoming stronger, clearer, more ready. That's why a relationship may not be coming into your life, because you are being molded for an extraordinary mission, not for an ordinary relationship. The universe doesn't want to complete you with someone, it wants to make you a whole person. And that is only possible through a test that you have to pass alone. 7. You can sense that it's not time. Yet, I have a feeling deep down, it's not time yet. You can't explain it exactly, but you feel it inside. An inner intuition tells you that there is something waiting for you, but it's not right now. This feeling is often beyond logic. You know something has to happen, but you still feel that you have to wait. This is the clearest whisper of the universe. The universe is not telling you that you are not ready. It is telling you that you are being prepared. You are in the process of preparation. You are in the process of inner transformation. Jung's deep psychological understanding comes into play here. To be conscious is to be part of the process. Sometimes the universe doesn't want something to happen because your inner world is not ready yet. It may take more time to take you to the next level spiritually and mentally to complete your transformation. This may seem like a struggle or a complicated situation, but it is actually necessary for you to evolve. The universe first establishes inner balance in order to guide you in a healthier way towards yourself and your environment. Inner preparation is a process, and time, events, and environmental factors need to be in harmony. So before the universe can bring you love, opportunities, or peace in your life, it has to pull your heart, mind, and soul to a higher level. Feeling this is a sign that the universe is giving you. Another meaning of the universe telling you it's not time yet is this. When the time comes for a relationship or a life milestone, everything has to fall into place. The universe will not bring anyone closer to another person until they are emotionally, mentally, and spiritually mature. Because your real purpose comes not from that relationship or that milestone, but from your inner maturation in the process. Maybe right now you feel that everything is not working out. Your goals are still unclear. There are uncertainties around you. But the moment you feel this, know this. This uncertainty is the universe telling you that you are where you are supposed to be right now. Being alone right now is just a process of preparing you for the next step. During this period, your soul is deepening. You're getting to know yourself. You're trying to find inner balance. As a result, this intuition is a process in which the universe is secretly preparing you to take you to the next level. You are not ready to enter into a relationship because first you need to integrate yourself and heal your heart. Then the right person will come into your life. The right opportunities will come your way. But for now, you have to make that inner preparation. Jung says, without understanding your own soul, it is impossible to understand the outside world. And that's exactly why the universe leaves you alone. It isolates you. It takes you on a journey to get you ready. For the next step, you need to complete your spiritual evolution. So listen to this intuition because you are preparing for the next level. And this preparation will make you a much stronger person, both spiritually and mentally. 8. You feel like you're outgrowing your current life. You feel that something needs to change, but this feeling is not just a momentary depression, but a spiritual awakening. A period of your life, maybe with your friends, your work, or your environment, doesn't make as much sense to you as it used to. Sometimes you just feel an emptiness, a lack. Or maybe it's as if there's a great dissonance between where you are spiritually and the world you live in. This is one of the signs that the universe is sending you to prepare you for the next level. Because what no longer satisfies you prevents you from moving forward on the path of development. In Jung's words, when man begins to find his true identity, he has to get rid of his old identity. This is a very deep process of inner change. You may not even realize it sometimes, but things around you are not attracting you the way they used to. You find it hard to connect with people the way you used to. Your old hobbies or interests no longer appeal to you. It's as if everything is blocked at some point. This is a sign that the universe is trying to teach you to live on a higher level. The old layers of your life are starting to pull you back. And this is a transition rather than a crisis. Instead of seeing it as a loss or a crisis, it should be seen as a process of spiritual growth. It is the universe's way of preparing you for the next step. Something is starting to work differently in your inner world. Things that once satisfied you no longer feel satisfying. Jung's concept of individuation comes into play here. Individuation is the journey towards one's inner essence. This process requires the shedding of old patterns and external influences. You too are feeling more of your inner essence and moving towards a deeper self-discovery. This process not only takes you away from your old way of life, but also makes you freer, stronger, and more conscious. As a result, the patterns, people, and habits that bound you to your old life lose their importance. You feel that old habits, old friendships, and even old jobs no longer serve you spiritually. Things that no longer appeal to you are not growing you internally. The universe is trying to free you at this point from the heavy burdens of the past. This is a kind of spiritual cleansing. Before you can become a more authentic, wiser, and deeper person, you have to let go of the old. And yes, this can be very challenging, because many of us seek security by clinging to the old. But Jung said, the inner reality shapes the outer world. Without creating a spiritual vacuum, true growth is not possible. This is where it makes sense to be no longer satisfied with your old life. This void is a transitional space that prepares you for the next step. It is time to let go of old patterns in order to reach a higher level of awareness. 9. You're no longer satisfied with superficial connections. At first glance, superficial conversations, social relationships, or spontaneous interactions with people might have once satisfied you. But now, such connections satisfy you less and less. You are surrounded by people, but the connections you make with them seem to lack depth. There is an inner emptiness. You're looking for something more, something deeper. This is a sign from the universe. You are now looking for more meaningful relationships. Carl Jung states that the human psyche and subconscious can only reach a level where it can make a deep connection. While on the outside you form superficial connections, in your inner world there is a need for more intense, meaningful, and deep relationships. Jung's process of individuation enables a person to discover themselves not only in the external world, but also in their inner depths. And this discovery cannot be achieved only through superficial relationships. Superficial connections do not fulfill the true needs of the soul. True connection is made only by looking beyond the surface. Another sign the universe is giving you is that you are less and less willing to connect with people who exist only on the surface. You may be frustrated by the fact that many people are around you and bring nothing to you spiritually. There is no depth and meaning in such relationships. If you are constantly engaging in the same superficial conversations and avoiding depth, the universe may be showing you that you need to look for something else. Because spiritual growth is only possible through meaningful connections. This is a principle that applies to friendships, relationships, and even work. Jung's point is this: real relationships are those in which one finds oneself, deepens, and makes one's inner journey. And you are now looking for those deep relationships. Your relationship with people should not be just a pastime or a source of temporary fulfillment. Your soul wants to develop a higher connection, a more authentic way of relating. Superficial dialogues only steal your time. Your soul wants something more meaningful. The fact that superficial relationships no longer fulfill you is the universe forcing you to truly evolve. Internally, you are looking for deeper connectedness and meaning. This is an indication that you are looking for the right relationships, the right friendships, and the right business connections. Jung's shadow archetype comes into play here. Superficial relationships keep you from facing yourself. That's why the universe moves you away from such connections. The person who knows himself, the person who reflects himself towards others, establishes deeper and more meaningful connections. And at this point, the universe prepares you for a more meaningful period by making you lonely. This period of solitude allows your connections with others to deepen and take on meaning. 10 years you're being prepared for something bigger. When the outside world starts to feel like a stranger, you're on the verge of a deep inner transformation. People, events, even everyday life itself, everything feels like a dream. Things that once excited you now seem empty and meaningless. This is not just a transition, but a universal call that prepares you for a much greater purpose. It is difficult to realize this because the world is constantly pushing you towards more and more and more. Success, relationships, socially approved status. But all this far from making you happy, leaves you with a kind of inner emptiness. This is where the universe's decision to leave you single begins. Because singleness is a stage where everything is reset and rebuilt. Jung's process of individuation is the journey of people to know themselves independently of society and the world. This detachment you are experiencing, this withdrawal from the outside world, is an indication that you are actually on a journey that prepares you for that big thing. This big thing is not a relationship, career, or social success, but an inner realization, a spiritual awakening, and perhaps the beginning of a mission. The universe is leaving you alone because no one can take your place on this journey. This stage is nothing but the preparation of your soul to serve your true purpose. All the chaos, loneliness, and uncertainty in your life right now is there to make you stronger and more aware in your inner world. This preparation will allow you to move towards a future you have never seen before, perhaps never imagined. True transformation is not always a comfortable process. As Jung said, no one can be liberated without becoming conscious. It is a painful process. This pain is like a kind of birth pain that strips you of your old identities and makes you face your fears. When you feel this pain, you must realize that the universe is preparing you for a much bigger life. Everything you are going through right now is moving you to a different plane. It means breaking with old ties and being reshaped by inner strength. You are no longer interested only in the identity of a person, but in a deeper existence. This journey towards yourself brings you closer to the greatest purpose of your life. Even if you don't know what that purpose is, everything that prepares you for it, every experience, every period of solitude, moves you towards this new reality. And that's why the alienation you feel from the world actually invites you to an inner discovery. Because you have to be just yourself. You have to discover yourself fully. Before you can integrate with someone else, you must first integrate with yourself. The universe is leaving you alone to force you to do this. This is the time to meet your inner power that you never realized. Have you noticed a series of coincidences in your life lately? Maybe moments when everything happened just at the right time, when you unexpectedly met the right people, or when you made the right decisions when you least expected it? Sometimes these things become so obvious that it is impossible to see them as coincidences. This is a clear sign that the universe is trying to send you a message. According to Jung's theory of synchronicity, everything in the universe is interconnected and everything has a specific timing. These synchronistic events actually indicate that your inner journey is exactly on the right course and that the universe is supporting you on this path. This is a true moment of awakening. The universe expects only awareness from you. To accept that everything is connected and nothing is a coincidence. These kinds of events are guiding you towards a greater purpose. These seemingly random synchronistic situations in everyone's life appear as a sign. Loneliness is actually a means for these signs to attract your attention. By disconnecting from the outside world, from people and ties, you become more sensitive to these events in your inner world. So these synchronicities are not just coincidences. They are the universe's way of alerting you and directing you towards a higher purpose. Every encounter, every little detail takes you one step further. The increase in the number of these synchronistic events indicates that you are on the right path and are about to reach a major turning point. Such events invite you on a journey. Even though things may seem disorganized or confused in your life right now, synchronicities are a confirmation that you are on the right path. As you grow spiritually, they become more apparent. Everything connects from one place to another and leads you exactly where you need to be. And that's why the universe's decision to leave you alone is only to move you to a higher awareness. When you begin to perceive these synchronicities mentally and spiritually, you are on the verge of a major evolutionary transition. These synchronistic events keep you at the right point at the right time so that you find your way. If you are feeling at least 3 of these signs right now, the universe's decision to leave you alone may have a very deep meaning. Maybe you are feeling uncertainty, restlessness, and loneliness in your life right now. But remember that this loneliness is allowing you to go through a spiritual transformation. There is a time for everything, and the loneliness right now is a process that is preparing you for something much bigger. The universe is not leaving you alone to abandon you or to suffer. It is preparing you for a mission, a purpose, and a deep inner realization. This is part of your journey, and the meaning of it all will slowly take shape. If you are paying attention to these signs right now, the universe is inviting you to discover yourself, to find your strength in your inner world, and to stand on the threshold of a new life. This solitude is the beginning of everything, the beginning of something much bigger for you. If you have found yourself in these signs, tell me how you feel in the comments. Which signs affected you the most? I would love to hear your thoughts on loneliness and inner transformation. If this video opened something for you, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Maybe your story will inspire others. See you in the next video.